Ozzy Osbourne and Frehley rescued a Hell's Angel in the desert, but they didn't expect this before the story begins. Tell us where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to Voices of Darkness. Let's hit 1,000 subscribers together. And if you love Ozzy Osbourne, then prove your love and share this video with your friends. Highway 50 was a graveyard of broken promises long before July 14, 2018. They didn't call it the loneliest road in America for nothing. The heat didn't just sit in the air, it carved itself into the ground like a scar, swallowing sound, swallowing hope. At 5:23 p.m. that day, the desert would hold its breath, because three men were about to defy time, fate, and the empty hellscape stretching endlessly around them. But the real story didn't begin there. It began that morning in a small, quiet house in Carson City, where a tough man with tattooed arms was trying to flip pancakes without burning them. Marcus Rollins, known to the Hells Angels as Gunner, stood in the kitchen wearing a faded white tank top, hair tied back, shoulders still sore from last night's ride. For years, he had been the kind of man whose presence made people cross the street. 6'3", broad shoulders, beard like wildfire, and eyes that carried storms. But right now he was a soft-hearted father trying to make breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter, Sophia. "Pancakes are ready, sweetheart." From the living room came the hurried pat-pat-pat of tiny feet. Then a burst of pink as Sophia twirled into the kitchen wearing her ballet costume. The pink tutu shimmered like cotton candy under the morning light. "Dad, look," she giggled. "Isn't it beautiful?" Marcus dropped the spatula, not from shock, but from the sudden tightening in his throat. There she stood, the only light he had left in the world, the only reason he tried to be better every single day. 3 years ago, cancer had taken Sophia's mother, his wife, destroying their lives and leaving Marcus to raise their daughter alone. There were nights he drank too much, nights he broke down after tucking her into bed. But Sophia never learned how dark those nights were. Marcus made sure the sun still rose for her every morning. And today was her day. Her first ballet recital. Marcus knelt, cupped her cheeks in his rough hands, and whispered, "It's the most beautiful costume I've ever seen, but not as beautiful as you, Princess." Sophia threw her arms around him. "You're coming tonight, right? You promised." Marcus hugged her so tight she squealed. "I'll be there, front row. You have my word." And when a Hell's Angel gives his word, it is carved in stone. 9:30 a.m. the departure. Sophia left for the community theater on her shuttle bus, waving from the window until the bus turned the corner. Marcus stood on the sidewalk long after she disappeared, the desert sun already rising over the mountains. He checked the time, plenty of hours left. He showered, put on his vest, the one with the death's head patch stitched on the back, and polished his Harley for the ride to Reno. He wanted to arrive early, buy her a bouquet of white lilies, her mother's favorite flower. He kicked the stand. The Harley roared to life, and Marcus sped onto Highway 50. The desert was a furnace. The road shimmered in bending waves. But Marcus wasn't bothered. For him, these roads were home. Until the sound changed. A rattling, a wobble, a sickening metallic grind. Marcus frowned, slowed down, and then boom, the rear tire exploded. The desert spun. Marcus fought the handlebars with brute strength and brought the bike to a violent stop on the scorching shoulder. 3 seconds slower, and he'd be dead. He sat there breathing hard, sweat dripping, heart pounding in his ears. Then he looked at the tire. Destroyed, total ruin, impossible to ride. "Shit," Marcus muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. He checked his saddle. He had a spare tire, but no jack. He'd left the damn thing at home. Marcus checked his watch. 2:47 p.m. He still had time, but not much. He called Big Joe. "Gunner, what happened?" "Tire blew. No jack. I'm stuck." Joe cursed. "The nearest brother is 100 miles out. 2 hours." Marcus closed his eyes. 2 hours. He didn't have 2 hours. "I can't wait," Marcus whispered. Sophia's recital. Joe understood instantly. "I'm coming, brother. I'll do what I can. But, I'm sorry." The call dropped. Marcus stared across the dead desert, the silence pressing against his chest like a weight. He tried waving down cars. "Ase dan a minivan." A truck. None stopped. 3:15 p.m. Panic clawed at him. The sun was cruel. Water gone. Phone at 8%. He sat against his Harley and buried his face in his hands. "God, if you're there, please, just once, for Sophia." And in that moment, as if the universe cracked open, he heard an engine, not a bike, not a truck, a black Cadillac Escalade. It slowed. It stopped. The door opened. And out stepped a man Marcus had seen his entire childhood on albums, posters, and MTV. Long hair, round sunglasses, black shirt. Ozzy Osbourne. Behind him, Ace Frehley from KISS in a blue shirt, guitar pick necklace glinting in the sun. Marcus thought the heat had cooked his brain. Ozzy lifted his sunglasses. "Mate, this ain't a good place to sunbathe. Need help?" Marcus could barely breathe. Are you? Ace handed him cold water. Double quotes. Yeah, we get that a lot. But Marcus didn't have time to fare NGIRL. He told them everything. The recital, the promise, the distance, the impossible deadline. Ozzy's smile faded. His voice turned heavy with something old, something personal. "You promised your little girl, didn't you?" Marcus nodded. Ozzy put a hand on his shoulder. "Then we're getting you there," Ace added. "No arguments. Get in." Marcus hesitated for 1 second, then sprinted to the Cadillac. He climbed into the back seat, disbelief turning into a ferocious spark of hope. Ozzy behind the wheel, Ace navigating, Marcus praying in the back seat. The Escalade roared onto Highway 50, and the race began. 3:38 p.m. The chase for time as he pressed the gas harder. Speed limit 75. He was doing 85. Ace kept checking the map. "Stay on this stretch. If traffic holds, we're good." Marcus felt every second stabbing his heart. He imagined Sophia backstage right now, fixing her hair, tightening her shoes, wondering where her father was. Ace turned up the radio. Changes began to play. Ozzy smirked. "I wrote this for my daughter. Life a funny thing." Marcus swallowed the lump in his throat. The next 30 minutes were silent. Everyone focused, everyone sweating, everyone hoping. Then dash, up ahead flashing lights. Stopped cars. A line of vehicles, stretching like a dead snake across the road. Traffic. Ace leaned forward. "Accident. Looks bad." Marcus's pulse exploded. He jumped out, ran to a police officer, begged for time. 45-minute closure, the officer said. Minimum. It was over. He wouldn't make it. He'd failed. Marcus stumbled back to the Cadillac, sick with dread. "We're done," he whispered. "She never forgive me." Ozzy didn't blink. "No, not done." His voice was firm, almost fatherly. "Not while I'm breathing." Ace zoomed into the map. Dirt road. Rough. Adds 25 miles, but avoids traffic. Ozzy grinned. "Well then, let's get dusty." The Escalade spun around in a perfect U-turn and shot into the desert. A trail of sand rose behind them like a storm, and the impossible journey continued. The Escalade tore across the dirt road like a black bullet, its tires spitting clouds of dust into the burning sky. The desert around them was a battlefield of cracked earth, dead bushes, and heat so intense it shimmered like fire. The air tasted like metal. Everything in front of them, wind, sand, time, fought against their mission. Inside the car, the tension was a living thing. Marcus gripped the handle above his window, knuckles white, sweat rolling down his temples. Ozzy leaned forward over the wheel, eyes narrowed, jaw tight. Ace tapped the map on his phone, muttering calculations under his breath. 15 miles, Ace said. 15 more miles, and we hit pavement again. Ozzy nodded, flooring the gas. The Escalade jumped. Marcus inhaled sharply. "Is this safe?" Ozzy smirked. "Safe? No. Fast? Yes. Pick one." Ace added. "You're with a former Black Sabbath frontman, mate. Safety was never part of the contract." Marcus forced a laugh, but his heart was pounding, not from fear, from the cruel ticking of time. Every bump in the road reminded him of Sophia's tiny voice echoing in his mind. "Dad, you promised you'll come, right?" He blinked hard, breathing deeply. He had to get there. He had to. 5:02 p.m. The desert strikes back. The dirt road was brutal. The Escalade shook violently. Dust squeezed in through the vents, rattling the dashboard. Ace braced his feet against the floor as the SUV bounced. "Watch that dip." Ace began. Too late. The Escalade hit a deep rut. The world lurched. All three men slammed forward. Bloody hell. Ozzy barked. Marcus grabbed the back of Ozzy's seat. His heart hammered. "You okay?" "Yeah," Ozzy muttered, adjusting his glasses. "But this road wants to kill us." Ace brought the map closer. 7 miles left. Keep pushing. Ozzy nodded, adjusting his grip on the wheel. But the desert had other plans. A faint smell rose inside the car, sharp, burning, metallic. Ace sniffed the air. You smell that? Ozzy frowned. Yeah, that ain't the dessert. Marcus leaned forward. What is it? Ace checked the gauges. Engine temperatures rising. Ozzy cursed under his breath. Then the dashboard lit up. Engine overheat. WRNING. The Escalade sputtered, coughed, lost speed. Ozzy pulled over fast, rolling to a stop as a hiss of steam escaped from under the hood. Marcus's stomach dropped. No, no, please, not now, not now. He threw the door open and stepped into the scorching wind. Ace and Ozzy joined him, all three staring at the steaming hood like soldiers watching a fallen comrade. Ozzy popped the hood. A wave of steam blasted out. The engine glowed with heat. Damn it, Marcus shouted, pacing in circles, gripping his hair. Ace placed a hand on his shoulder. Panicking won't help. We'll fix it. Ozzy wiped sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand. Mate, relax. Engines are like musicians. Sometimes they overheat from doing too much too fast. Give it a break. Marcus wanted to believe him. He needed to believe him. But every second they lost was a dagger. 5:11 p.m. The forced pause. They waited. Ozzy used 2 water bottles from the trunk, pouring the cool liquid into the reservoir. Steam sizzled as the water made contact. Ace watched the horizon, tapping his foot anxiously. 10 minutes, Ozzy said. That's all it needs. Marcus checked his phone. Battery, 4% time. 5:12 p.m. Sophia's rehearsal had already begun. She would now be backstage, lacing her shoes, adjusting her tiara, wondering where her father was, wondering why he hadn't called. Marcus felt guilt crush his chest. I should call her. Ace frowned. You'll break her heart if you tell her now. I can't lie to her, Marcus snapped. Ozzy stepped closer, his voice low, steady, weighted with decades of fatherhood scars. Marcus, listen to me. If you call her now, she cry, she panic, she'll lose all confidence before going on stage. But if you wait, just wait, and we make it. Ozzy looked him in the eye. Then she'll walk on stage, knowing her father kept his promise. Marcus swallowed hard. Ozzy rested a hand on his shoulder. Don't break her heart unless you have to. Marcus nodded silently. He would hold on. For her. 5:20 p.m. The photo that would go viral. Ice checked the engine. Temperature was dropping. We're almost good, he said. Ozzy leaned against the Cadillac, breathing deeply. The desert wind blew strands of his long hair across his face. Marcus stood a few feet away, shoulders broad, dust caking his vest. He gazed at the horizon, at the endless land between him and his daughter. Ace looked at them both. A strange thought struck him. Hey, this is going to sound weird, but he took out his phone. We should take a picture. Marcus blinked. What? Ozzy laughed. A photo. Now, think about it, Ace said, stepping back. 3 guys, a biker, a metal legend, and a rock guitarist, stuck in the middle of the Nevada desert trying to save a little girl's big night. Tell me that isn't iconic. Marcus couldn't help but grin. It was insane. Insane enough to be true. Ace positioned his phone on a rock. Timer set. 10 seconds. They took their places. Ace on the left in his blue shirt, Marcus in the middle, looking like a warrior caught between worlds. Ozzy on the right. Sunglasses reflecting the dying sun. The wind blew. Their shirts fluttered. Their hair whipped across their faces. 2 legends rested their hands on Marcus's shoulders. Silent encouragement. The camera clicked. A single image. A moment frozen in time. A moment the world would talk about for years. 5:28 p.m. The resurrection of hope. As he slammed the hood shut. All right, lads, let's ride. They jumped into the Escalade. Ozzy turned the key. The engine sputtered, coughed, strained, then roared back to life. Marcus exhaled. Ace punched his shoulder. See, told you we're not done. Ozzy smirked. We're making that recital even if this car explodes behind us. They hit the dirt road again. Slow at first, then faster, faster. The desert blurred. The sun drifted toward the mountains, turning the sky molten orange, and finally the dirt ended. The pavement began. Ace raised his fist. Yes. Marcus checked the dash. 2 miles left. 1 hour and 32 minutes. Hope returned. Weak at first, then stronger, like a spark catching fire. He took out his phone to 3% battery and dialed. Sophia answered instantly. Dad, where are you? I'm scared you won't come. Her fragile voice stabbed Marcus right in the heart. Sophia, listen to me, he whispered, voice cracking. There were problems on the road, but I'm on my way. I might be a little late, but I'll be there, I promised. Remember, Sophia sniffed, but everyone else has their dad. I just want you to be there when I start. Marcus felt tears burn his eyes. That's all I want too. Sweetheart, his voice trembled. I love you. Before he could continue, Ozzy gently took the phone. Hello, Sophia, he said softly. It's Ozzy, a friend of your dad. Sophia gasped. Who? Doesn't matter, Ozzy chuckled. What matters is your dad is coming, and he's fighting the whole world to get to you. Sophia whispered. Really? Yes, love, really. You dance your best. Your dad will be watching, I promise. When Ozzy returned the phone, Marcus wiped his eyes with his sleeve. Thank you, he whispered. Ozzy nodded. Every child deserves their father on the most important day of their life. Marcus swallowed hard, and every father deserves one more chance. 6:15 p.m. to the final stretch begins. Looked at the map. 18 miles left. 45 minutes. The sun was beginning to sink. The lights of Renault glowed faintly in the distance. It was possible, barely, but possible. Ozzy cracked his knuckles. Let's go finish. The Escalade flew down the highway. The clock ticked. The world narrowed to one final mission. Get Marcus to his daughter before the curtain rises. The sun was sliding toward the horizon like molten gold as the Escalade sliced through the Nevada desert, leaving a long tail of dust behind it. The cabin vibrated with the deep hum of the engine, a sound that felt like a heartbeat, relentless, urgent, refusing to quit. Marcus leaned forward in the back seat, gripping the headrest in front of him. His heart beat faster with every mile. Reno was close, so close he felt he could stretch his hand out of the window and touch it. Sophia's little voice still echoed in his ears. Dad, please come. That single sentence fueled him more powerfully than any gasoline ever could. Ace studied the map intensely, swiping left and right, zooming in, then out. 16 miles, he said. He looked at Ozzy. We're cutting it tight. Ozzy didn't blink. Tight is fine. Impossible is where the fun starts. 6:18 p.m. The city lights. The city fights the highway curved gently, and the first tiny hints of Renault's skyline began to emerge. Small specks of silver, neon, and hope rising from the desert like a dream trying to break through the dusk. Marcus stared at it as if staring at salvation. We can make it, he whispered. We can make it. Ozzy smirked without taking his eyes off the road. Of course we can. I didn't take driving lessons 19 times just to fail at a moment like this. Ace raised an eyebrow. You actually failed 19 times. Ozzy sniffed. I passed eventually. That's what counts. The car rocked as Ozzy swerved around a slow-moving sedan, pushing the Escalade to 80. The road stretched before them like a dark ribbon ready to snap. Ace suddenly tensed. Traffic ahead. Marcus's heart stopped. No, come on, not again. Ozzy narrowed his eyes at the brake lights, reflecting against the darkening sky. Relax, we'll find a way. The SUV slowed to a crawl. A sea of cars choked the lanes, RVs, sedans, tourists, weekend gamblers. Ace zoomed in on the GPS. Construction. 2 lanes closed. We'll lose 15 minutes here. Marcus slammed his fist into his knee. 2 lanes now. Of all the days, he pressed the heels of his hands into his eyes, letting out a shaky breath. Sophia's show began at 7. He needed to be there before the stage lights hit her face. He imagined her walking out, scanning the crowd, looking for him, seeing only empty seats. His stomach twisted. Ozzy leaned forward on the steering wheel. All right, new plan. Ace nodded. Take the exit. Ozzy yanked the wheel right. The Escalade shot off the highway, down a ramp, and onto a narrower road cutting through the edge of town. Marcus looked out the window. Buildings passed rapidly, gas stations, motels, pawn shops, neon signs flickering in the dusk. Ace kept barking. Turns, left, right, straight. Take that alley. Ozzy handled the SUV like a man possessed. Despite nearly 3 decades of chaotic rock star living, his focus now was sharper than ever. Marcus held his breath with every swerve. The speedometer hit 70 in a 35 zone. Ace wiped sweat from his forehead. Mate, don't kill us. Ozzy grinned. No promises. 6:24 p.m. A shortcut through chaos. The side streets were worse than expected. Stop signs every block. Pedestrians crossing like they owned the place. Cars backing out without looking. Buses blocking both lanes. Marcus growled from the back seat. We're losing time. Take the sidewalk if you have to. Ace blinked at him. Are you insane? Ozzy shrugged. Honestly, I've done weirder things. He slammed the accelerator. The Escalade roared down the next turn. Then honk. A delivery truck appeared out of nowhere. Ozzy twisted the wheel. The SUV skidded sideways, tires screeching across asphalt. Marcus slammed into the window, nearly biting his tongue. What the f? Ozzy steadied the car, heart pounding, hands white-knuckled. Ace gasped. Bloody hell, Ozzy. Ozzy muttered, remind me to fire my guardian angel later. Marcus exhaled shakily. Just get me there, please. Ozzy nodded. You'll be there, trust me. 6:28 p.m. The mountains of red lights, traffic lights, more traffic lights. Every corner of the city seemed determined to stop them. The roads grew narrower, sidewalks crowded with tourists, cars honking, buses unloading, casinos flashing lights like they were mocking the three men in the SUV. Ace checked the map again. 3 miles left. Marcus's pulse jumped. We're close. Ozzy gave him a quick nod. But these last 3 miles are the worst. Downtown is a nightmare at this hour. They turned the next corner and slammed straight into a wall of brake lights. Marcus's breath hitched. No, no, not now, not now, Ace groaned. Everyone's heading to the casinos. Friday crowd. Ozzy gritted his teeth. Fine, new plan. Ace blinked. What now? Ozzy opened his door. Marcus froze. Where are you going? Ozzy swung the door wide. Move your ass. Marcus stared. Realization dawned. Ozzy was switching seats. Ozzy shouted. Marcus, you drive. Marcus blinked. What? Ozzy smacked the hood. You want to make it or not? You ride Harleys through tighter gaps than this. You can weave through this madness better than me. Marcus stared at him, at his wild hair, dusty clothes, fire in his eyes. You serious? Ozzy grinned. I didn't risk my back in that dirt road to have us stopped by vacation traffic. Get behind the wheel, brother. Marcus didn't think twice. He jumped out of the back seat, ran round the front, slid into the driver's seat. His hands tightened around the wheel. His biker instincts lit up like wildfire. He shifted the gear. Hold on. Ace slapped the dashboard. Oh hell, we're dead. 6:31 p.m. The biker takes control. Marcus drove like a man possessed. He didn't break traffic laws. He destroyed them. He weaved through 2 lanes, slipping between cars with inches to spare. Ace screamed. Watch the Honda. Marcus swerved. Ozzy shouted. The bus. Marcus cut in front of it. People honked. Someone cursed. A driver flipped them off. Ace yelled. I can't die. I have concerts to attend. Ozzy laughed insanely. This is better than every Fast and Furious movie combined. Marcus pushed forward, every nerve in his body calculating distance, speed, angles, gaps. His biker brain was built for this. He was born for this. But even with all the weaving, the clock was merciless. He checked the dash. 6:38 p.m. 22 minutes. Ace shouted. 2 miles left. 2 miles. Marcus's breath hitched. We're making it. I swear we're making it. He took a sharp left, another sharp right. The city blurred around them. Streetlights reflected against the windshield. Horn blasts echoed. The adrenaline was a live current in the air. Ozzy slapped Marcus's shoulder. Come on, lad. You can do this. 6:42 p.m. The desperate final mile. They reached the final stretch. A long, straight road leading directly to the community theater. Marcus could see it. A small building with glowing signs. Parents walking in with their kids. Cars lined outside. Sophia could be inside right now, adjusting her ballet shoes. Marcus pressed the gas, but then a police car pulled onto the road ahead. Lights off. Driving normally, going exactly the speed limit. Ace's jaw dropped. No, no, please, no. Marcus's heart sank. He couldn't overtake a police car. Not at this speed. They crawled behind the police cruiser. 0.35 miles per hour. Ozzy whispered. This is torture. Marcus clenched his teeth. Ace stared at the clock. 6:45 p.m. 12 minutes left. Marcus whispered. Prayer. Come on, please. Turn. Do something. A second stretched into a lifetime. Then the police car slowed, turned, signaled, and took a right into a parking lot. Marcus floored the gas. All 3 men screamed. Go, go, go. The Escalade roared toward the theater. 6:51 p.m. to 9 minutes left. As he pointed. Right there, front entrance. Marcus didn't park. He didn't slow down. He skidded the Escalade to a stop directly in front of the theater doors. tires screeching. All three men jolted forward. Marcus sprang out, didn't close the door, didn't look back. He sprinted. Every muscle tearing, every breath burning, every step fueled by love. A staff member grabbed his arm. "Sir, you can't enter. The show is Ozzy," and Ace appeared behind him. The staff member froze, jaw dropped, eyes wide. Ozzy lifted his glasses and spoke calmly. "He's going in." The staff member stepped aside instantly. Marcus ran into the dark auditorium. Lights hit the stage. Music started. Sophia hadn't stepped on yet. Marcus dropped into the front row seat, breathless, shaking, dusty, sweaty. But he was there. He was there. The moment Sophia walked onto the stage, searching through the crowd with wide, hopeful eyes, Marcus held his breath, and then she found him. Her face lit up, her smile exploded, her little hand went to her chest. Her father had come, and the world made sense again. Marcus's eyes filled. He whispered, "I made it, princess." And Sophia began to dance, graceful, beautiful, weightless, every step, every spin, every movement, a message of love. Marcus watched through tears. Ozzy and Ace stood at the back, arms crossed, smiling like proud uncles. The desert had tried, time had tried, fate had tried, but nothing could keep a father away from his daughter. Not today, not ever.
The auditorium lights dimmed into a soft gold glow as Sophia stepped onto the polished wooden stage. Her pink costume shimmered beneath the spotlights, delicate as a sunrise. The audience murmured gently, programs rustling, parents leaning forward with pride. But Sophia didn't hear any of it. Not the whispers, not the soft music starting, not the dancers adjusting behind her. Her eyes searched the rows, desperate, wide, trembling, and then she saw him, front row, right side, breathing like he'd run through 10 deserts. Dust on his vest, sweat dripping from his forehead, but smiling. Her father, Marcus Rollins, her entire world. Sophia's shoulders dropped with relief, her chest filling with air she hadn't realized she'd been holding. A tiny smile, small, pure, radiant, curved her lips. Marcus felt his heart break and heal at the same time. "I made it, princess," he whispered it so softly no one else heard. Ozzy and Ace stood quietly at the back of the auditorium. Both leaned against the wall, arms folded, soaking in the moment with expressions that held decades of buried memories. Ozzy whispered, "Look at that. She's glowing." Ace nodded. "Worth every damn mile." 6:58 p.m. The dance begins and music swelled. Light piano notes floating through the air like feathers. Sophia raised her hands, poised, graceful, and then her dance began. It wasn't perfect. Not technically, not professionally, but was real. Every step carried the weight of a child who waited for one face in a sea of strangers. Every spin reflected the faith she had in one man, her father. Every leap was a celebration of love that refused to die. Marcus watched, tears streaming silently down his face. He had seen violence, betrayal, death, loyalty, and brotherhood in Hell's Angels. He'd ridden through storms, fights, deserts, and darkness. But nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to this moment, his daughter, his heartbeat, dancing for him. The little girl who once wore fairy wings and asked him to chase monsters from under her bed. The little girl who cried for her mother at night until Marcus held her for hours, promising he'd always be there. The little girl who now shone brighter than any light in the room. Sophia finished her final spin. Her tiny chest heaved with emotion. She bowed. The auditorium erupted in applause, but she didn't look at the crowd. She looked at Marcus, and Marcus mouthed, "I love you." Her eyes gleamed. She mouthed back, "I knew you would come." The reunion. As soon as Sophia ran backstage, Marcus bolted from his seat. His legs moved before his brain could catch up. He pushed through the aisles, past parents, chairs, and smiling kids. He burst into the wings of the stage just as Sophia rushed toward him. She crashed into his chest with such force he stumbled backward. "Daddy." Her voice cracked from joy and relief. Marcus hugged her, arms trembling. He lifted her, spun her gently, burying his face in her hair. "I'm here," he whispered. "I'm here, baby. I promised, didn't I?" Sophia clung to him like she'd never let go. Ozzy and Ace approached slowly, smiling warmly. Sophia peeked from her father's shoulder and gasped. Are you really Ozzy Osbourne? Ozzy smirked. Last time I checked. She turned to Ace. And you're Ace, right? Ace nodded with the kind of smile he didn't use often. That's me, kiddo. Sophia blinked. Did you guys bring my dad here? Ozzy crouched. We didn't bring him, sweetheart. We just helped him keep his promise. Sophia hugged him, surprising everyone. Ozzy stiffened and softened, let her arms wrap around his neck. Marcus laughed through tears. She hugs like her mother. Sophia turned to Ace. She hugged him too. Ace whispered, You dance beautifully. And that was that. The chaos faded. The panic dissolved. The journey was over. For the first time in hours, silence settled around the three men and the little girl. A silence that didn't hurt. A silence that healed at the aftermath. A moment of stillness after the recital ended. Families poured into the hall, chatting, taking photos, congratulating their kids. Outside, the sky had turned deep purple, sprinkled with stars. Marcus stood on the theater steps holding Sophia's hand. She couldn't stop smiling, pointing at everything, replaying every detail of her performance. Ozzy leaned against the Escalade. Stretching his back, Ace checked the engine temperature. Marcus approached them. You saved my life today. Ozzy shook his head. No, you saved yourself. We just gave a little nudge. Ace added, and some water, and a dirt road detour, and a near-death shortcut. Marcus chuckled, a rare sound from him. But seriously, I owe you everything. Ozzy stepped forward, placing a hand on Marcus's shoulder. You owe us nothing. Being a father, that's enough. Ace nodded. You kept your word. That's what matters. Sophia tugged Marcus's vest. Dad? Marcus knelt. Yes, princess? She looked at Ozzy and Ace shyly. Can they come to celebrate with us? For ice cream. The two rock legends blinked. Ozzy burst out laughing. Ace shrugged. Why not? Marcus rubbed her cheek. You want them to come? Sophia nodded eagerly. Okay, Marcus said, standing up. Let's go get ice cream. Ace clapped his hands once. Finally, something I've been good at all my life, dessert. They all laughed. The fear, the desperation, the terror of losing time, all of it faded under the glow of streetlights. But as they began walking toward the Escalade, something unexpected happened. The photo that changed, parents began whispering. Is that Ozzy Osbourne? No way. And Ace Frehley. What are they doing here? That biker looks familiar. Then someone recognized the three men from the viral photo that had just hit social media, posted by Ace earlier with the caption, Saving a Promise. The picture of Marcus standing between Ozzy and Ace, two legends holding his shoulders in the middle of the desert, spread across the internet like wildfire. People walked up, thanking them, shaking hands, asking for pictures. Marcus felt overwhelmed, but Ozzy handled the crowd like he had for 50 years. He raised his hand and announced, This man, Marcus Rollins, rode through hell today for his daughter. He's the real hero. We just got him a ride. The crowd applauded. Marcus looked down at Sophia. Her eyes glowed with pride. She whispered, Dad, you're famous. He whispered back, I only want to be famous for being your father. The night ends. The story dozen tea ice cream dripped down cones. The city lights sparkled. Marcus laughed harder than he had in years. Sophia sat on his shoulders. Ozzy told wild tour stories. Ace played air guitar using a plastic spoon. The terror of earlier felt like it belonged to another lifetime. And as they all stood outside the ice cream shop, Marcus looked at the two rock legends and said softly, If you two ever need anything at all, I'll ride across any desert to get to you. Ozzy nodded. Same goes for you, brother. Ace added, Once you ride with us, you're family. Marcus's throat tightened. Sophia yawned and curled into Marcus's chest. He held her, kissed her forehead, and whispered, I'll always be here. Always. The desert had tested him. Time had hunted him. Fate had tried to break him. But a father's promise, a father's love, unstoppable. That night, beneath the Nevada stars, three unlikely brothers stood together, a biker, a metal god, and a guitar legend, all bound by one simple truth. Sometimes angels don't have wings. Sometimes they wear leather jackets. Sometimes they hold guitars. but they always show up exactly when they're needed most. The night air outside the ice cream shop was cool and soft, a relief after the brutal desert heat that had nearly broken him hours earlier. Reno's neon signs flicker across the sidewalk, painting streaks of red, blue, and gold over the four unlikely companions sitting at a corner metal table. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Sophia curled up in his lap, her head on his chest. Her ballet makeup had begun to smudge, and stray glitter still clung to her cheeks. She looked dreamy, half asleep yet listening quietly to every word her father and his new friend said. Ace sat across from them, tapping a plastic spoon against the table like it was a drumstick. Ozzy stood a few feet away, talking to a group of excited teenagers who couldn't believe they had stumbled into a real rock legend outside a humble ice cream shop. Marcus watched Ozzy joke with them, signing arms, napkins, a shoe, and at one point, someone's forehead. Ace laughed every time Ozzy cracked a joke. Man, Ace said, he's going to wake up tomorrow with stories he probably won't even believe himself. Marcus smiled softly, brushing a loose strand of hair from Sophia's forehead. You two didn't have to stay, he said quietly. You could have headed back after dropping me off. Ace shrugged. Kid, wanted ice cream with us. That's the sort of invitation you don't turn down. Sophia peeked up sleepily. You saved my daddy, she murmured. Ace shook his head. No, sweetheart. Your daddy saved himself. We just gave him a lift. Marcus felt emotion rise in his throat again. He looked at Ace, then at Ozzy, then back at Sophia. You know, Marcus whispered, I don't think I've ever been that scared in my life. Ace tapped the spoon on the table. You're a hell's angel, Marcus. I'm pretty sure you've been through worse. Marcus exhaled slowly, eyes drifting upward toward the night sky. That's the thing. I've been through gunfights, bar brawls, motorcycle crashes, you name it. I've walked through fire 10 times. But none of it scared me like the thought of not being there for her. He looked down at Sophia. That's the only thing I fear. Sophia nuzzled closer, her tiny hands curled around his vest. Ace nodded slowly. I get it. I really do. The lessons we passed down. Ozzy returned to the table, brushing off his sleeves as if removing cosmic dust. Teenagers, he muttered, full of energy. I feel exhausted just being near them. Ace laughed. That's because you're ancient. Ozzy shot him a glare. I'm timeless, not ancient. Marcus chuckled, shaking his head. Ozzy leaned down Sophia. You okay, love? Need anything? Sophia smiled shyly. I'm okay. Ozzy gave her a small nod, then sat beside Marcus. Let me tell you something, Ozzy said, leaning back. When I was your age, lad, I missed a lot of important moments with my kids because I was on tour, because I was selfish, because I didn't know what mattered most. Marcus looked at him, listening closely. I'd come home after months on the road, Ozzy continued, and I'd see their drawings stuck to the fridge, little stick figures holding hands. Big hair on one stick figure, so I'd know it was me. He smiled sadly, and it hit me later. I wasn't there when they made them. Ace's eyes softened. Marcus swallowed. Ozzy's voice grew quiet, almost fragile. I can entertain millions, Marcus. I can make a stadium scream. But I can't go back and sit front row at their first recital. I can't redo that moment. Once it's gone forever. Sophia shifted slightly in Marcus's arms, listening. Ozzy nodded at her. But you, Marcus, you didn't let that moment slip away. You fought for it. You rode with every ounce of love a father can have. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes again. Ozzy pointed at his chest. That's what makes you a man. Not the vest. Not the bike. Not the patch. This, being there for her. Sophia looked up and whispered, He made it because he's my hero. Marcus kissed her hair, unable to speak. Ace leaned back and let out a sigh. You know, he said, people think legends come from stages, or records, or fame. But sometimes legends come from a dusty highway and a promise a father refuses to break. Marcus chuckled softly. Guess we all became legends today, huh? Ozzy smirked. Speak for yourself. I've been a legend for decades. Ace rolled his eyes. A call from the road. While they ate their melting ice cream, Marcus's phone buzzed in his pocket. The screen glowed with a name. Big Joe. Marcus took a deep breath and answered. Joe. Gunner. Big Joe roared through the speaker. I'm at your bike. Engine's cool. Tires trashed. What the hell happened out there, brother? Marcus smirked. It's a long story. Joe paused. You make it to the recital? Marcus looked at Sophia and smiled softly. Yeah, brother. I made it. Joe exhales in relief. Good. I was worried you'd be late. Marcus chuckled. You have no idea. Joe hesitated. Near ride? Marcus looked at the Escalade behind them. Dusty, cracked windshield, engine stretched to its limits. Then he looked at Ozzy and Ace. Nah, Marcus said. I've got a new crew tonight. Joe barked a laugh. Who the hell you riding with? The President of the United States. Marcus grinned. Close enough. The long walk back to the Escalade. After they finished their ice cream, the group slowly walked back toward the Cadillac. The streets were quieter now, casino lights still flashing, but the crowds thinning. Sophia held Marcus's hand. Her tiny fingers curled around his like a lifeline. Ozzy walked beside them, humming a soft tune. Ace trailed slightly behind, checking his phone for the 100th time. They reached the Escalade. Ace slapped the hood. She survived. Barely, but she survived. Ozzy looked at Marcus. Ready for one last drive, mate? Marcus nodded. Back to my bike? Ozzy shrugged. Back, wherever you want. Tonight is your night. Sophia tugged Marcus's vest. Daddy. Yes, princess? She looked at Ozzy. Then at Ace. Then back at Marcus. Can we do this again someday? Marcus lifted her into his arms. You never know, sweetheart. Life is crazy. Ozzy smirked. That's an understatement. Ace added, with this guy, anything's possible. Marcus held Sophia tight. I just hope wherever life takes us. I never miss a moment like today. Ozzy touched Marcus's arm. You won't, because you're not riding alone anymore. Ace nodded. Once you ride with us, even once, you're family. Marcus smiled. Then I guess I gained 2 brothers today. Ace corrected him. 3. Marcus blinked. 3. Ace pointed at Sophia. She's a leader of this crew. Sophia giggled, covering her face. Ozzy roared with laughter. Smartest one among us. The drive home and the start of something bigger. When they finally piled into the Escalade, Marcus driving this time, the night felt peaceful. The kind of peace you only feel after a storm. Sophia curled up in the back seat, wrapped in her father's leather vest, fast asleep. Marcus drove slowly, the desert breeze whispering against the windows. Ace fiddled with the radio until he found a soft rock station. Ozzy watched the stars. And for a long time they said nothing. The silence wasn't awkward. It was full of meaning, full of gratitude, full of the knowledge that they had survived something insane together. When they finally reached Marcus's broken-down Harley, Ace whistled low. Man, she's tougher than she looks. Ozzy nodded. Like her owner, Marcus got out of the SUV, and for a moment, just a moment, he stared at the Harley as if seeing an old friend he nearly lost. He touched its handlebars gently. Then he turned to Ozzy and Ace. I don't know how to repay you. Ozzy waved a hand. You already did. You let us be part of something real. Ace added, not many people get to say they helped save a father's promise. Marcus swallowed hard. You two will always have a place in my home. Anytime. Any day. Ozzy and Ace exchanged a look, a silent agreement, then nodded. We'll hold you to that, Ace said. They came as strangers. They left as a brotherhood. Asterisk, asterisk. It wasn't written in ink. It wasn't sworn with blood. It wasn't sealed with a ritual. It was forged in the desert, in fire, in fear, in love. A brotherhood born from a road that tried to break them, and a promise that held them together. The Escalade rumbled softly in the darkness as Marcus stood by his Harley, arms folded across his chest, staring at his bike like a man studying an old battlefield. The desert night was quiet now. No roaring engines, no rattling dirt roads, no screaming clocks counting down minutes he didn't have. Just silence, just stars, just peace. Sophia slept inside the Cadillac, curled up on the back seat in her pink ballet outfit, a tiny warrior who had conquered her stage and stolen the hearts of two rock legends without even trying. Ozzy leaned against the Escalade with a long sigh, stretching his back, his old bones cracking like fireworks. "Bloody hell," he muttered. "I feel like I've aged 10 years today." Ace smirked. "You age 10 years every day, Oz." Ozzy glared at him. "One more word, and I'm leaving you in the desert." Ace laughed, stretching his arms behind his head. Marcus took a deep breath and turned toward them. "So, what now?" Ace shrugged. "Now? Now you load your little princess in the truck, we all take you home, and then we all pretend we didn't nearly die in 6 different ways today." Ozzy added, "And maybe next time, don't take Highway 50 without a jack." Marcus chuckled. No promises. The goodbyes that didn't feel like goodbyes. The desert wind rustled across the sand as they circled around Sophia, still asleep in the back seat. Marcus gently lifted her into his arms, her head resting on his shoulder, her breathing soft. Ace whispered, "She's a tough kid." Marcus nodded. "She's everything." They stood together, the 3 men and the little girl who had unknowingly tied their fates. A strange quiet fell among them, not awkward, not empty, but thick with the weight of everything they'd been through. Ozzy cleared his throat, breaking the silence. "Marcus, days like this? They don't come often." Marcus turned. "What do you mean?" Ozzy's voice softened. "You get older, life gets loud, work gets in the way. You start missing moments." He paused. "Moments you never get back." Ace folded his arms, eyes distant. "The world only gives you a few chances to prove what kind of man you really are." Ozzy nodded toward Sophia. "And you proved it today." Marcus felt the desert wind sting his eyes. He wasn't a man who cried easily, but today his heart had been ripped open and sewn back together again. He stepped forward and hugged Ozzy. Not a quick handshake or a pat on the back. A real hug, strong, deep, like 2 men who understood each other's scars. "Thank you," Marcus whispered. Ozzy patted his back. "Don't thank me. Thank the desert. It brought us together." Ace stepped in next, clapping Marcus's shoulder, then pulling him into a rough half-hug. "You call us if you ever need anything," Ace said. "Doesn't matter where we are. Doesn't matter when." Marcus nodded. "I will." Ozzy smirked. "And I expect tickets to her next recital." Marcus laughed quietly. "You got it." The drive back, one last ride. The drive back to Marcus's home was peaceful. Sophia slept soundly in her father's arms, her small fingers tangled in his vest. Ozzy sat in the passenger seat, humming an old melody. Ace dozed off with his head against the window, snoring softly. The desert that had once been merciless was now gentle, glowing under the moonlight. The stars looked brighter. The air felt cooler. The road felt less lonely. Marcus drove slowly, savoring the quiet. He whispered to Sophia, "I'll never let you down again, princess." Maybe she heard him. Maybe she didn't. But she smiled in her sleep. 1:12 a.m., the arrival home. Marcus pulled into his driveway. His house was dark, quiet, waiting. He parked and turned to Ozzy and Ace. "You guys sure you don't want to stay? I have a spare room. Couch. I can make coffee." Ozzy shook his head. "Nah, mate. We got a flight in a few hours. We'll head out." Ace stretched like a tired cat. "My back's killing me, but damn, what a day." Marcus opened his door. "Before you go." They turned. Marcus looked them both in the eye. "What you 2 did today wasn't normal." Ace grinned. "Nothing about us is normal." Marcus nodded. "You helped me keep a promise. You saved a memory I'll hold for the rest of my life. I won't forget that." Ozzy placed a hand on his shoulder. "And we won't forget you." Marcus stepped back, holding Sophia close. "If you're ever in Nevada again, my home is open to you. Always." Ozzy saluted him. Ace gave a thumbs up, and the 2 legends climbed back into the Escalade. Marcus carried Sophia inside, tucked her into bed, kissed her forehead, and whispered, You were amazing tonight." She didn't wake, but she smiled. He stood there in the doorway, watching her breathe, watching her sleep peacefully. The world outside could go to hell. The club, the desert, the broken Harley, the chaos. None of it mattered. She was safe. She was happy. He had kept his promise. The legends drive away. Outside, Ace slid into the passenger seat as Ozzy started the engine. "Well," Ace said, "we're definitely putting this in the memoir." Ozzy snorted. Chapter name: How He Nearly Died Helping a Biker Dad. Ace chuckled. The internet went nuts over that picture. Ozzy smirked. "Let him. Some stories deserve to be told." They drove off slowly into the desert night. The photo that never stopped spreading be morning. The photo had exploded online. Three men standing in the desert. Ace on the left, Ozzy on the right, Marcus in the middle. Two legends resting their hands on the shoulders of a father fighting for time. People everywhere asked, "Who is the biker? What happened? Why are Ozzy and Ace in the desert?" The story spread. News outlets picked it up. Bloggers wrote about it. Parents shared it with their kids. Bikers shared it with their brothers. Musicians shared it with their bands. And every time a photo appeared, someone added the same damn caption: "Sometimes angels don't have wings." A week later, the LET 7 days after the recital, Marcus opened his mailbox. Inside was an envelope addressed simply to Marcus and Sophia. The handwriting was messy, unmistakably Ozzy's. Marcus carried it into the kitchen, sat down, opened it. Inside was a small note. "Marcus, family isn't about blood. It's about the people who show up when the world tries to break you. You and Sophia showed me something I haven't felt in years. Don't lose that." Ozzy, folded underneath it, was another note. "Sophia, keep dancing. You're a star." Ace, Marcus sat at the table for a long time, the desert light coming through the window, the letter resting in his hands. His heart full, he looked at Sophia's picture on the wall, her ballet costume, her smiling face, and he whispered, "Thank you for giving me a reason to fight." Months passed. Seasons changed. Life went on. But every once in a while, Marcus would receive a text from Ace. "Out on tour. Thinking about Highway 50. You good, brother?" Or a voice note from Ozzy. "Tell the little ballerina I said hi." And Marcus would smile every time. Because legends don't always leave. Sometimes they stay. Somewhere in the desert, somewhere between Reno and nowhere, a promise had been made sacred: the father's love, a rock legend's heart, a guitarist's loyalty, a little girl's belief that a moment where three lives collided and formed something unbreakable, a brotherhood, a story, a promise fulfilled, and Highway 50 would never forget it. If this story touched your heart, then subscribe to Voices of Darkness, hit the like button, and share this video with your friends. And if you truly love Ozzy Osbourne, then prove your love. Share this video everywhere and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Comment your name so we can use it in our next story.